Okay, this is going to be some evidence that I'm going to use concerning this case, 147037. I'm going to get Vicki to read this to you and try to get it on the camera here. We're going to start off with I guess that is the inquest. What is it, Vicki, called
Inquisition.
Yeah, okay. Now, would you read that to them, Vicki? And then we'll move on to some other documents. I got to show some documents.
Okay, it states, State of Kentucky, County of Jefferson, an inquisition taken at Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky on December 8th, 1971, before William M. Petty, M.D., Coroner of Commonwealth for the county aforesaid, and 6 good and lawful citizens of aforesaid county upon the dead body of Eugene Edward Kaufman Sr., age 42 years, and upon oath do we say that said Eugene Edward Kaufman Sr. met his death on October 23, 1971, and was due to inquisition due to stab wound of thigh and laceration of femoral artery and vein. Homicide. And we, the jury, find from evidence of Detective Frank Bickle, Jefferson County Police Department. Witnesses that said Eugene Edward Kaufman Sr. met his death due to a stab wound at the hands of Stephen Thomason, Ricky Allen Webb, David Lee Mouse. And from the evidence we have heard, we felt it was murder. In witness whereof we, the coroner, and jurors aforesaid, have put our hands and seal on the day and year at the place aforesaid. Signed, Robert E. Arnold, M.D., Coroner, Jefferson County, Kentucky.
Okay, now we have just established that a jury, 6 good citizens, a jury decided this case was involved in a murder, that 3 people has killed Eugene Kaufman Sr., which was my dad. Now, we had established that. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to move on to a copy of the, what is this? The
Death certificate.
Death certificate. And I can kind of go over that. You don't have to read it. Just kind of focus that in there so they can see it. Mainly this right here. It says down here, it's Gene Kaufman Sr. We are talking about Sr. again. And then you want to go down here and focus in on where it says homicide on there. So there's no doubt that this was a homicide. Did you get that in there, Vicki? Where it says homicide.
Yes.
Okay, now we're moving on. We got that. That is our death certificate. So there's no doubt the man has died now. All right, now we're going to move on. Okay. Now, this is the disposition. And I want you to read the disposition to them, Vicki, and kind of like get the whole picture in there if you can. Get the whole document and then zoom in, because you got to zoom in, you know.
Okay.
And then I want you to read what's going on with this.
Okay, the defendant, Stephen Ray Thomason, grand jury date 5/22/1972. Charges homicide as a result of cutting. Count 1. Count 2, malicious cutting and wounding. Deposition. Testimony. On October 23rd, 1971, the above defendant, along with 2 other subjects, got into a fight with 4 other subjects in front of 9807 Titan Drive. There were several weapons used, and Mr. Eugene Kaufman Sr. came out his house with a .22 caliber rifle to defend his son, who had already been seriously cut by the defendant. Mr. Kaufman struck the defendant over the back with the rifle, and the defendant then cut Mr. Kaufman several times. One of the wounds severed an artery in his left leg, from which the victim died upon arrival at the hospital. Eugene Kaufman Jr. was cut seriously by the defendant and required over 400 stitches and was hospitalized for an extensive period of time, nearly losing his life. Witnesses: Eugene Kaufman Jr. at 9723 Polaire Drive, Donnie Kaufman, 9723 Polaires Drive, Larry Wayne Kaufman, Clyde Jr. Williams, 9807 Titan Drive.
Ricky Allen Webb turned state evidence. That was his co-defendant. David Miles turned state evidence against Stephen Ray Thompson. And then all these police department people here. And then Thomas Gilbert, 9723 Titan Drive. So there was plenty of witness stating that this is what happened and this is the conclusion that the jury had. This is why they do these things, so people will know or have documents stating that this is how it happened. This is what a jury decided happened through all the evidence, okay? Now the guy's facing these charges. Now, next, this is what happens. We're going over here to we're going to the next page. This is the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This is the indictment that came out. Where this indictment how they come up with this indictment, I do not know. But anyway, they got a Stephen Ray Thompson. He's being charged with homicide occurring in a course of cutting. Thompson. And then they got David Lee Miles, malicious cutting and wounding. And it says both. That means both of them. And it carries 2 to 21 years. And then the grand jury, the county of Jefferson County, in the name and by the attorney of the Commonwealth of Kentucky charges. Count 1. They specifically say count 1. And then they come up with this bungle jungle. Can you read that, Vicki?
That on or about the 23rd day of October 1971 in Jefferson County, Kentucky, the above-named defendant, Stephen Ray Thompson, willfully cut Eugene Kaufman Sr., not intending to cause his death and not in self-defense nor in the lawful arrest of a person charged with a crime or in doing any other legal act, so that Eugene Kaufman Sr. died from the injury within 6 months.
Which I don't understand none of it, because the guy just stabbed him because Dad come out there and tried to pretend help his son. Now, the count 2, it says what, Vicki?
That on or above the 23rd day of October 1971 in Jefferson County, Kentucky, both the above named defendants maliciously cut and wounded Eugene Kaufman Jr., intending to kill him.
And they're referring to David Lee Miles and Stephen Ray Thompson. They said both of them done that.
Count 2, right?
On count 2. Now, if you go down here again, this is a true bill. It's certified, it's a true bill. And then again, you got Ricky Allen Webb turned state evidence, David Miles turned state evidence. Now, that was the indictment, that was the true indictment, okay?
Right.
Now we're moving on. This is the transcript. This is where Thompson pleads guilty. You might want to, they plead guilty, they had a little flea bargain here. We didn't have no say-so. All we was told back then is that the guy was pleading guilty, didn't even tell us nothing about what his charges was or nothing like that, or what it's going to be. Didn't he tell us a court date? But they came up with this. And you might want to read that. I don't know if you get that within 10 minutes or not, but you can start on it. If you run out of time, I guess, you know what I'm saying? You can continue on. Now, so if you could show the whole picture again, Vicki, and then zoom on it and read through the transcript. Best way I know how to do it.